Dead on at 50. We got the Ravin model R20 out for a review today, and we're going to be talking all about this bow, the good, the bad, and the ugly on it, and my honest review on it. Okay, so the Ravin R20, it comes with 3 bolts, a cranking handle, a 3 arrow quiver, a couple of their quick detach mounts, 2 of them, the illuminated scope, red and green speed scope, and a little info on the bow. They had this advertised speeds at 430 feet per second. It has a 13-inch power stroke on it. The kinetic energy is 164. The draw force with the cocking handle is 12 pounds. The axle to axle when it is cocked is 6 inches. When it is uncocked, it's 10.5 inches, so it's really small even when it's uncocked. The overall weight is 7.1 pounds. The overall length is 34.5 inches. As you all know, it shoots off of a little rail system, so there's no contact other than these 2 little points up here. Most of them do not come with a foot stirrup, but they do come with these little plastic pieces over, so you can put that on the ground and cock it. So far it has been pretty good shooting. The way that they recommend you sighting this in is you start at 10 yards just to get on target, and then you go to 20, and then after that you back up to 50. 50 is where you're supposed to sight this in, because that's the center point in your 100-yard illuminated scope. And then once you get it set into 50, you go back to 20 yards and you sight it in there, but you don't change your turrets for that. If it's low or if it's high, you change your speed scope. If it's high, you need to change it where it's a little faster. If it's low, you need to slow it down. And I'll take you over and get a arrow weight, and we'll get the chronograph out, and I'll show you do two shots with that so you can get the average speed for that. Alright, we got the scale already. This is coming in at 383.2. Now that is a little bit lower than their advertised of 400 grain arrows, but it's not too bad. I've had a little bit of issues with their lighted knock system, and that is probably why some of my arrows are off weight, and we'll get into that later in the review. But I have already did the speed test on it, so I'm going to insert that clip right now. Whew, 449. Shot number 2, 439. Shot number 3, 437. Shot number 4, 437. And shot number 5, because that first one seemed a little high, so we're going to do it again. 436. I did a 5-shot group, so the average is right around 436. So that's 6 feet per second higher than what it's rated for. Now, when I did call Ravin a couple times about the issues with the nocks, and I actually told them about that I was shooting over, and they said that most of their bows do shoot over than what they advertise the speeds at, about 5 feet per second. So it's good to know that they don't use lighting up their arrows a lot to get a high speed, and then the arrows that they give you, your speeds are drastically different. So that's been really good so far about it. But I'm gonna take a couple shots. Okay, I'm gonna do it right here at the table, so hopefully you guys can get a good view of it. Okay, so we got the cranking handle. There's a little button in the back right here. You're gonna put your cranking handle on. You're gonna crank it just a little bit, and you're gonna hold that button up and release the tension. Take that off, and as you see, it starts sliding down. You're gonna push it till you hear a click, and then you can take your finger off that button. Now, if you're in the field, there is a silent way to do this so you don't hear this click. And I'm going to show you that. If you have to put tension on it, but if you push that button back in, you can cock it just like that and bring it all the way up to silent. But now there is a warning with that. If you somehow let go of this handle and you have that button pressed, it's going to sling in a circle real fast. I seen a video where a guy broke his thumb doing it, blaming it on Ravin. It's not Ravin's fault. You have to be careful when you're doing it. Just like with any other bows that aren't silent and you hold the button to do it. So 12-pound test, really not difficult. Then you're going to go until you don't hear no more clicking, and then you're good to take it off. Now, when you load the arrows, this spot right here, you're not going to want to put your hand behind that just in case if it goes off. So you load it just like this. Alright, so we have it just sitting in there. You're going to hear an audible click in there. Let's see if I can get you guys to hear it. Okay, there's a little click. I don't know if you heard it, but that's how you know that your nock's in there and you can fire it. Now, when you first get this bow, it is going to be a little bit difficult to push that in. You had to use a little bit of force to actually get it to push in and actually make that noise. So after you shoot this bow a couple times and you get it down, it gets easier to do it after a while. So I'm at 50 yards right now. I'm going to take a shot and you guys can hear it. And then I'll take you down and show you where we aimed. Let me turn my reticles on here. Alright, so we'll go down and take a look. Okay, as you can see, I was aiming for the middle. It's a little bit high and to the right. I have 2 arrows left from the problems that I had. I'll go ahead and take this out now. I have 2 arrows left out of the 6 that I had purchased. We'll get more into that reasoning later. I don't know if this was the exact one I sighted in with, but I'm going to go ahead and grab the other one. The other one is a lot closer. It's like 399 grains. Okay, guys. The things that I really like about this bow, it is crazy fast. You definitely need to aim at different aiming spots every time you shoot this bow, because if not, you will split nocks and damage your arrow. I've already damaged one of my arrows and broke it. I didn't split the nock on it or nothing, but it hit the side of the arrow and messed it up where I can't shoot it no more. The cocking device that they have on this, I really like that. It's pretty good. I've used 10 points with their little lead sled thing that goes out and you hook it up and you crank it. That works okay. This one actually works a lot better. The rail system on here is really nice. The contactless flight for your arrow, other than the 2 little rolls up top, is really nice. How compact it is very nice. I've wanted to get one of these bows for a couple years now. After I heard about them, I wanted to make sure that they were going to be okay and not have a ton of problems. The only problems that I did see for it is what we'll address later. It's got green and red illumination on it, out to 100 and into 20, so that's pretty decent. It's not hard to cock. They give you, well, they don't give you string serving, but you get your string serving fluid. And I will say one thing with the string is, I've shot this maybe, 40 shots, maybe something like that. And if you can tell, I already have just a little bit of wear there. So I'm interested to see how long that is actually going to last, because they recommend for their string serving fluid that you only put it on 1 time a year. unless you hunt below 32 degrees, then they recommend you put it on every time you go out below 32 degrees so your string doesn't get caught up or anything. They don't want you to use any wax for the strings or on the serving. I did contact Ravin about that, and they said you can use the string serving fluid that they give you on your strings as well. I did have on the left side a little fray on not the actual serving but the string closest to the serving, and I called them about that, and they said if you just press it back down with your hand, something like this right here, you just go like this and do that, it'll just push it right back into place. So I mean, to an extent, yes. They didn't seem real helpful on the phone, and they were a tad bit rude, which is pretty bad considering the amount that you pay for one of these bows brand new. So he said, yeah, you just squeeze it like that and goes back right back down to where it was. I told him that was good until the next shot, and it just comes back out. So I'll have to see how long these strings actually last on there. And when you go out in the field, this is just playing around at range day. So range day gets shot a lot more than actual in season. In season, I got a decocker on it, so I don't have to shoot it or anything. But I'm gonna shoot the other arrow because I'm pretty sure this one might have been the one I sighted it in at. So we're gonna check it out. I'll load this one up and shoot it. I don't know if you heard the click there, but it's good to go. And whenever you hear that click, you get put back on safety. And another nice feature about this is when you go to click it to fire, there's no click sound. You're not gonna be able to hear that. There's in person, you can hear just a tiny bit, but when you click it back to safety, there's that audible click. So that's gonna be really good at not alerting your game when you're hunting. Alright, I'm gonna go take a look. I'll bring you guys with me too. Yeah, so it is very important if you don't want to break your arrows, especially with the Ravin, and I'm sure some of the other high power bows that are pretty accurate, to not aim at the same spot because you'll destroy it and go through money pretty fast. Now, just by walking up on this arrow, this looks like the one that I probably sighted this in with because it's closest to where I shot it. You can get a little bit of a jerk out of it, but not much. So it's a lot closer. Okay, so there it is. Just a little bit right. So I'll make an adjustment when I go back. And now the other thing that I do want to warn everybody about, there is a little bit of hidden cost when you buy a bow like this. So some of that would be, if you're just thinking that you can buy one of these high power bows and shoot it at any target, it's not going to work. When I tested it at the dealers, I actually put the bolt like all the way through the bag and it was sticking out about 12 inches. Now, I have a block target at home. I figured that would have been good enough. No, these things will bury them up to the veins. And not 10 point, but Ravin does recommend that you have an arrow puller to help you with that. But you really just need to get a high powered bag. Once you get a high powered bag, it's not gonna matter. I have it's spider web bag, something spider bag. It has no speed rating on it. So, I mean, you could even shoot their new 500 feet per second bow, and they only go in about 6 or 8 inches unless you hit the same hole. And then, even then, you can pull it out easy. With a block target, you had to stand on top of it. There's that couple actually I had to cut out to get them out. But now we'll talk about the tool that I was telling you about. Now, I actually don't have a tool with me today on the range because it's just a paperweight now. If you go out and buy the lighted nocks, with the amount of money you pay for everything, they should include that with it, but that's a hidden cost. The way that you're supposed to turn them lighted knocks off, and this is one of the biggest problems with Ravin. I mean, I love the bow. My other bow that I have that I like is the RDX by Wicked Ridge. This one is my favorite, a lot faster. I love using it more. But the lighted knocks for 10 point is really simple, really easy to use, and you will not damage your arrow. Alright, so the way that these knocks are actually very, very tight in there, especially the lighted knock ones. So I had got lighted knock arrows, and then I purchased the actual ones to replace the regular knocks that they give you with the bow in it. So they don't recommend you use pliers because, well, here, I'll just put this up there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there is actually plier marks on this from trying to take it out. The arrow knock tool, I've heard people say it works great, but they have no problems with it. And other people, there's forums everywhere. Ravin actually knows of the issue because I even asked them if they had that down when I called them to complain about it, because I wanted a refund for my lighted knocks and all the accessories I had to buy for the lighted knocks. So after they were a little bit rude about it, they caved, and they're gonna send me 6 free arrows, unlighted knock versions, because I'll never use them again until they redesign it. Let me get closer up here. Now the lighted knock system, it looks just like this. Right here is the metal knock bushing, and then here's the knock. So the way that they want you to do this here, after you shoot it, because you can't turn the knock on until you shoot it, which the knocks are very bright, I like them, and I wish that they had a different system. Now when you shoot it, this is going to be glowing. What they tell you to do is you put that little knock tool up to the arrow here, up to the fletchings, you squeeze it, and then in their instructional videos, they just shake it a little bit like this, and it turns theirs off instantly. Now, I don't know if they had shot that arrow 100 times before it got like that, but my arrows were not like that. Some of them would turn off real easy, but most of the time, I mean, you were spending 5 minutes to try and get it. And then if that little tool didn't work, you were taking pliers to them to try and wiggle them out. And I mean, you hear that noise? That's what you had to do with that little extinguisher tool on there to get this part to pull. And sometimes it would pull the bushing along with the knock right out. That actually happened on quite a few of my arrows. The bushing came out and I had to super glue the bushing back in. So when I had called them, they said to fix that, only maybe go about halfway up the things. And he says they work out great. So, and I told him, I said, I'm putting a lot of force into these to get it to turn off. And so I did it their way, and actually doing it has happened twice. The first time I thought maybe it was my finger, you know, cracking when you crack a finger. When you're putting holding it right here by the knock and everything, and you have that on there and you're swinging it, all the force is going right here at the end where the knock is. So I mean, I've heard cracks, I've heard a pop 2 different times on arrows, and I called them, told them, this is dangerous, man. I'm not using this stuff no more. They're gonna reimburse me for it, so it's good now. But the knock design on that is terrible, terrible. I'll never use it again until they come out with something better. Like 10 points, that's so simple. I can turn 20 10-point knocks off before I turn one of these off. So that's really bad design. I mean, they put in a lot of engineering for the bow and everything, how the bow works. Not so much on the knock system. And if you're hearing cracks by the knocks and the bushings on your end, if that slightly damages that at all, you're going to have a lot of problems. You can make your bow blow up in your face because you're putting all that force. I mean, it'd be a little different if it was at the front, but at the back where the string sits, that's asking for a recipe for disaster. Now, I've heard of people sanding the actual knock down a little bit on the inside so it wasn't so tight. I've heard people putting wax in there. But here's my thing is, if you're spending the type of money for a brand new one, even the cheaper version, you shouldn't have to do all that. You shouldn't have problems with that. These should work in and out real nice and easy. I mean, I've ran lighted nocks on 3 or 4 different bows, and I've never had the issue that I did with these. Okay, so remember the issue that I said about the string coming apart? Okay, now, this focuses a little better. You can see that string. It shouldn't be doing that for the little bit of shots that you've put on it. But that's not a huge issue. Alright, guys. That one was a bullseye. I'll take you down there and show it to you. A lot of the times when you're off just a little bit, you could be slightly moving the bow. And it does make a difference with these high power bows if you have them perfectly level, which they do sell that for extra, a little level for it. My model, the R20, doesn't come with that. So you got the hidden cost of maybe the nock tool, maybe a high powered bag. Now other than the nock design, I love this bow. This is gonna be my main bow. I'm probably never gonna sell it. And you have to sight in at 50. I've never taken a shot on 50 inside the woods. Where I hunt, it's maybe 20, 30, maybe max. There it is, right in the X, and that's at 50 yards. So now, I mean, you can even, I've taken shots at 70 and 80 with it, just playing around. I did it at 100 before I really had it dialed in. I'm not gonna do 100 today. Well, we might be able to. I'll back it up a little bit and shoot. Unless I'm on a field edge, I think maybe 80 would be tops. And that would only be maybe if I seen a big buck or something, or the freezer was empty. I might try and take a shot at 80. With these bows, it's really easy to do. But, well, I'll back the bag up. I'll put it at 80, and then we'll do it again. Okay guys, some more important information. Okay, this is a little bracket design that they have. Don't quote me on this, but I don't know if it specifically says quick detach, but these are not quick detach. You have to press in this little button here. It's kind of difficult with one hand, and wiggle this out, and that's how you get them out. And then the other thing that I notice is whatever hand that you're gonna crank with, say if I'm cranking with my right, which I normally do, where that first arrow sits, you're gonna be hitting it with your crank. So whatever hand that you're gonna crank with, your arrows have to be on the opposite side. Unless you take your quiver off all the time and crank it and don't put your quiver on. Then you can keep it on your right. Now, with this design, with the arrows same way as the bow and not facing like this way out from the bow, when you go to put this on your shoulder, let me just show you. See, I got it in my shirt right now. All right, let's see if we can get this to show. Okay, you see where that arrow is? It's kind of right there, it's digging into my back. Digging into your back. Every time you take a step, you're gonna feel that push into your back. So that's something to keep in mind, guys. If the arrows, like with my 10-point Wicked Ridge that I have, if the arrows were coming out like this, it wouldn't be back. This is right up against your back. So I mean, once you have padding on it, you might not be able to feel it, but I'm just in a t-shirt right now and walking to the stand with this, with the strap. Every step you're taking, whichever side it's on, every time you take a step, you're feeling that dig into your back. So that's not the greatest. This is, with all the stuff mounted up here, it is pretty top heavy. They do make a Relocator Kit, not Ravin, somebody else did. Ravin should definitely make it though, to bring your crank right down here, which is a lot better than up here, in my opinion. I always like them right here. It's where you're doing most of your work for the crank anyways. And then another, I wouldn't say it's a complaint. Let me put this down. This cheap little quiver that they give you, most of them have foam in them. This one has absolutely nothing. It's just plastic. It might have a little bit of like a layer of rubber around on the inside, but no foam to actually stick your arrows in. But I mean, it's got 2 little clips on it, so those shouldn't come out. I'm pulling pretty good on it. So we got it set up to 80 yards right now. I'll take one shot at it and take you guys down there and give you my final thoughts on this bow and the things I love and I don't like about it. All right, guys, we got a long shot right now, 80 yards. Let's see how it is. Should be pretty accurate if I keep the bow level, don't jerk it or anything like that. I also did forget to mention in this video that this trigger that they have on there is right around 3 pounds. So I'll turn my illuminated scope on here. We hit the bag, that's a good sign. All right, I'll take you down there and show you. I'll talk to you on the way. Just so nobody can say, oh, he cut the film and he put that arrow in there. This is 80 yards. With any other bow, I'd never take this shot. But the speed scopes make it really nice. And it's pretty accurate, I think, for that shot. So, this bow is pretty amazing. This is my favorite brand. They do have some stuff to work on. Customer service a little bit. The guy got somewhat nasty with me when I told him that I was gonna need some stuff replaced because they were junk. The nocks are junk. I truly hate them. But what can you do about it? And he said, oh, well, we just can't just send everybody arrows. Like, well, you can if the design is crap. Okay, guys, here we're at the bag. All right, so there it is. There's my arrow. I was aiming just a little bit right in here. So, I mean, it's just a little bit off. That could be from me, could not, but I don't think I have to worry about ever taking a shot that far on a game. And even if you do, I mean, that's real close to where you're aiming for the vitals, so you're gonna hit vitals. But guys, I highly recommend this bow. Hopefully once Ravin gets some of their stuff figured out better on the engineering parts for certain stuff, it'll be a lot better. They did put, you can tell they put a lot of quality into the actual engineering of the bow, between the crank, the trigger, everything. On the arrows nocks, not so much. They did say that they have a certain supplier or manufacturer that designs theirs, and that's up in 2022. So hopefully they make plans, because they know this is a documented issue. A lot of people have had not so good results with the lighted nocks. So hopefully they take that in consideration and get a better system, because I would love to run lighted nocks on my arrows so I can actually see where they're going. That is going to be it for this one, guys. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. This is a very powerful and fast bow. I love everything about it. There's a few things I would change, but it's pretty awesome. One more quick thing to add. If you ever have problems with your arrows, if you mess up a bushing or something, you basically almost have to just get a different arrow. Your arrow could still be good. There has been no place online that I have found that provides the same knock that Ravin does. And when I called Ravin about their nocks, I asked if they had any there that they could send me. They didn't seem to have any in stock. So that's another kind of issue with it. They want everything that they make for that bow, and everything specific to you have to buy from them. So that's another cost, you know. They kind of dictate the market on that. But if you mess up an arrow, you need one of those bushings, good luck. That is going to be it for this one, guys. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. This is a very powerful and fast bow. I love everything about it. There's a few things I would change, but it's pretty awesome. That's going to do it, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.